Hello, I'm Katie Thomas, Senior Marketing Manager here at Core. And today I'm with Eric Lund, Head of Sony's IoT Tracking Division. Eric, great to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
We've got a really interesting quickfire interview here. So how can supply chain visibility have an impact on sustainability and the business's bottom line? Ultimately, we often see that these goals are at odds with each other.
Yeah, I know that's a pretty common misconception. One cannot happen together with the other. But we do see that if you're working on optimizing your logistics operation, then it's good both for the business, for your bottom line, and for the environment. Supply chain visibility. What we are working with is really about gathering data. And through the data that you get, the visibility you get, the information you have, you can use that to identify, things that are not optimal. Which are waste that you can cut them out. That might be suboptimal routing. So you are driving too many miles, wasted journey, which means that you're wasting fuel and energy. You might be doing things in a way that ultimately hurt your products with a waste for that, and that can really happen on so many different aspects. Again, the visibility drives you the ability to take action for this, and by taking this action, then you eliminate the waste, and that gives you savings, money, and resources. So being a financial sound choice, but at the same time you're also being more sustainable.
Yeah, absolutely, that makes complete sense. And you touch on the word waste there. What kind of waste are we talking about where it comes to logistics?
I'd say in such a way that you can attack on many different areas when you're looking at streamlining your logistics operations. There's some sort of basic effect of, can we save fuel? Can we save time? Can we save resources? But if we look at some of the the type of waste that we are talking with our customers about, then maybe one that is close to heart, you can say, is, for example, food waste, which is a global massive issue from a sustainability point of view. We're seeing a lot of media about it. It was a couple of years back, the Food and Agriculture Organization within UN came out with a study that said that basically a sixth of all food is lost between harvest until it hits the store, right? Which is a massive amount. And then, we're not even going to talk about the waste that happens, that we are over shopping, things are being thrown out in the shop. That's really a different topic than what we are talking about here. But, if we can just cut away some of that waste there, then you reduce emissions, you reduce all the cost of producing for no reason, and ultimately you can feed more people, right? So that's good for the planet, it's good for consumers, and it's good for business that lose their money every time they have spoiled goods, right? And we have been looking at things in the developing world, and that can be a game changer. There were studies done in East Africa where community flourished by cutting away this waste, optimizing how they were able to bring food to the market, right? So this is when we're talking about transporting food, then it's perishable goods, of course, fruits, vegetables, meat, and dairy, not dairy. By using, monitoring the temperature, monitoring, understand what kind of impact is being shaken around and stuff like that. Then you are helping the producers, the transporters, to understand how do I get my goods safely to the store, right? Eliminating or reducing the food wastes, but at the same time, also taking into some of the more traditional wastes that you're seeing in what you call in supply chain. Another aspect that is maybe not close to heart, but very top of mind right now is medical waste. When we're seeing what's happening with the transport of pharmaceutical products, right now, certainly talking about pharmaceuticals, we're all thinking about COVID vaccines, but there are definitely a lot of very highly sensitive, highly valuable types of products that are being transported. That really means that if you don't understand what's happening in terms of controlling the temperature, the cold chain is broken, and so on and so forth, it might have lost effect or might even have turned dangerous, right? So that's something you want to really deal with. A side point to this that is maybe less obvious, we look at the other side of pharmaceutical in terms of the working with biological samples, seeing a lot of challenges with that, samples going lost. I read an article this morning about the challenge of losing organs for organs transport because they're not being tracked well enough. So it touches both in terms of aspect of time sensitivity and sensitivity as goods. And if we talk about organs, then it's really a question of lives being at stake. And then I think taking a little bit back to general manufacturing and stuff like that, you're seeing a lot of different products that are being produced that can change characteristics if something happens to them. Talking about fragile electronics within, can be medical electronics and be close to what we're doing, where, for example, if it's been exposed to an impact during transport, might mean that the calibration is off, and you need to be able to understand that, both to deal with the event that happened, but also to understand how can I avoid it on a more general term.
Yeah, so from a business perspective, I mean, that food wastage, that there's a big element. If you don't sell it, you're throwing it away. Yeah. Chemicals, industrial waste, food waste, health waste. I mean, there's such a big bottom line to how much is wasted, and thus money is just thrown away. This sort of critical asset monitoring of the goods is important for the customers.
And I would say certainly not logistics is not everything. It's not if we fix logistics then everything is solved. If you're talking about sustainability, talk about waste, there are many angles that are what kind of materials that you use, how do you recycle, and so on and so forth. But I like the draw the parallel with logistics being similar to the plumbing in the house. It is very invisible for you. You don't bother about it until it's clogged. And the picture of Ever Given stuck in the Suez Canal was really suddenly we saw global supply chains were clogged because a ship was stuck in the Suez Canal, and then it became very paramount. And speaking with a number of companies after that, the effect of understanding are my stuff on board this ship, where they bought a ship that actually was able to get through the Suez Canal before, are they stuck after? What do we do? Coming to the point of what will it do in terms of impact to your production? If you don't know, then you cannot plan for it. You cannot plan for the disruption that you're seeing now, take action for that, and or you cannot work with building resilience in your supply chain. And both of those actually have the impact. If you have an idle factory, there's a huge cost to it, but you're also using a huge amount of energy just keeping it going, right? There was, in the beginning of the COVID crisis, a case where I believe it was the Volkswagen factory that had to stop because they couldn't anymore orchestrate the inbound supply chain of goods for them, right? And that's, of course, it costs a lot of money, but then if you start to take in, keeping with the sustainability angle, all the resources that were used for no purpose, right? And those are the things that we are trying to work with companies to avoid.
Yeah, I think there's some really good examples of, I guess, direct advantages that that prove that it makes complete sense, that the waste reduction of all kinds is great for the business, the environment, and the consumer at the end of the day. If you can manage costs, the consumer is going to not only just get the product, but at a better price. We're going to cut it there before we go into another huge area.
That's another elephant we can dice up right there.
Yeah, exactly that. So I just want to thank you. There's some great insight into how, how a more sustainable supply chain can just sort of better business, and how those two aren't actually at odds, and it's something that should be part and parcel of somebody's strategy. Logistics and supply chain managers, they faced a whole host of different challenges, and they're trying to marry the needs of the customer, the internal stakeholders, increasing legislation, and that changes per country. So you think about intermodal, multimodal transport. So, we at Core are very pleased to be working with Sony to drive that IoT-enabled critical asset monitoring solution, because we understand that providing the data and insights that the customers need helps streamline those operations, increases efficiency, and to your point, gets all the sustainability and business benefits that you've just spoken about. So I want to thank you very much for joining us on today's Quickfire interview. And thank you to those who just watched us. For more information, please go to corewireless.com.
Thank you very much, Katie.